Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Novello in the Expressive Arts Room, and today I'm going to show you how to fuse two images together to create a forced perspective drawing mashup. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with my stylus, tap the Fused app, and when I tap it, it brings up a screen that looks like this. The first thing I want to do is choose my background. So I'm going to tap my background, and for this I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to go to my camera roll, and I'm going to use the image that I had just created in Adobe Draw and saved. So I'm going to tap that image. I'm going to not choose square, I'm going to choose original, and then I'll tap the check mark. Alright, so now I'm going to tap my foreground. My foreground image is the image that I'm going to adjust and manipulate in order to make it look as though it fits in this picture. So I'm going to go to my library, I'm going to go to my camera roll, and that is where I'm going to find the picture of my son. I also want this, oh, that's not the image I want to use. I'm going to use this image. I'm going to choose original and the check mark. Alright, so in my Fuse screen I have the background of my former student, line drawing, and then my son. The first thing I want to do is I want to erase the color from my son's image. So how I'm going to do that, or I guess I could go section by section, and on the very bottom tool it asks you what kind of overlay you want this. There's normal, there's multiply, and for the sake of experimentation I want you to choose either multiply or normal. Those are very similar, so I'm going to choose multiply. You can also toggle over to adjust how you want it to look. I actually want the color of my photograph to look natural, so I'm going to click it there and then tap the check mark. The next tool are those horizontal lines with dots at the end. That's the adjustment tool. So this is where I can adjust my image, and so I can go to the image that I want to adjust and adjust the size, or I'm sorry, adjust the color, so I can make the contrast brighter or darker. I can add more exposure if I want to, but again, I want this to look natural. So just play around with those toggles and decide what looks most natural and then check it. And then the next tool is the paintbrush. And this is where I'm going to erase all of the color from the colored photograph of my son. So when I tap the paintbrush, it gives me a variety of tools. I want the eraser, so when I tap the paintbrush, it gives me an eraser. So that is where I'm going to go in and erase all of the color around my son's image. Notice that when I'm doing this, it's not erasing the lines of my line drawing. This is the masking tool. So what it's doing is it is allowing us to cover up, in a sense, what we don't want from our foreground with the details of our background. And remember, our background was a simple line drawing of the former student. So I'm going to quickly just outline my son and the details that I want to keep. Now, if you press down on your stylus, you're going to get a broad stroke. So for fine areas, you may want to just go very lightly. Okay, so I'm going to erase, erase, erase. Just do this really quick. Almost done. I think you guys get the idea though, without me doing all of this completely. You will need to erase, like go in this area here and in this area here. You would need to erase that to make it look more realistic. Alright, so when we're happy with our masking, then we can click that check mark. Then the next is the expansion tab, where you see the 4 arrows going in all directions, and that's where you want to arrange. So I can now use my fingers to adjust my sun's image to the size that I want. I can manually, with my hands, move it around to make it look realistic. He could be heading towards his mouth, like he's about to eat him. Something like that. But I think because his hands are kind of side by side, I'm going to just arrange him this way. Alright, so when I'm happy with that, I'm going to hit the check mark. When all is good, then I can save it. You'll see the paper with the arrow, and it's saving the project. It's saving it to your camera roll, or actually hit the 3 dots and see. Probably is in my camera roll, so let me go check to make sure. When you're finished saving it and it's in your camera roll, you're going to need to upload it to your drive. There it is. So go ahead and upload that to your drive, and that is how you fuse 2 images together, one line drawing, one photograph, to create a forced perspective drawing. And this is using the app Fuse.